I am swinging from a 7-story window, throwing parties in a 10 by 7 cell. It's astounding the lengths I'll go to convince the whole damn world I don't need anybody's help. Yeah, I am waving while I drown. Don't bother swimming out to save me, I will only drag you down. I'll try to use your body as a life raft, cause if there's room enough for one, there must be room enough for two. I'll sail the good ship you into the sunset, sipping on savory water till my liver turns blue. Sha-na-na, sha-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Is broadcast in the evening news. I will be relieved. La, la, I am waving while I drown. Don't bother swimming out to save me, I will only drag you down. I'm waving while I drown. Don't bother swimming out to save me, I will only drag you down. La, 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 singing, hey, hey, alright, yeah, I wrote that one myself. It's astounding the lengths I'll go to convince the whole damn world I don't need anybody's help. Fuck.
Yes, everybody, it is me. It is me. It is Matt right here live with another episode of The Writer's Block, a Muddied Waters Media production. Thank you all so much for spending your Thursday evenings with me, because there's a lot of things out there in this world that you could be doing tonight, and you are choosing to spend it with me, and that means the world to me. First and foremost, allow me to thank the wonderful and fantastic people over at siestacava.com for the kava that I drink on this and every episode of The Writer's Block. If you have yet to try the Libertarian Kool-Aid, the hippie moonshine, visit siestacava.com and get some today. To them and to all of you fine people for showing up on this fantastic Thursday evening, I say, Bula Vinaka. Very excited about today's show. Very excited about everything going on this weekend. But first, before we get into all of that, this episode is brought to you by the Libertarian Party Waffle House Caucus, the fastest growing and second largest caucus in the Libertarian Party. If you would like to be a member of the Libertarian Party Waffle House Caucus, all you have to do is go to muddiedwatersmedia.com/store and pick yourself up a Libertarian Party Waffle House Caucus button. If you want to be a voting member, whatever the hell that means, because we don't vote on anything, get a shirt. This episode is also brought to you by the most aptly named product ever put on the market, Mud Water. It is a wonderful, tasty, delicious, coffee alternative with 1/7 the amount of caffeine as coffee. It is made with masala chai, cacao, mushrooms, turmeric, sea salt, cinnamon, and that is it. If you are looking to make the switch from coffee today, visit muddiedwatersmedia.com/mud. This episode is brought to you by the Gravy King. This episode is brought to you by Fierce Luxury by Ashley. Fierce Luxury is a high-end bag and accessory consignment store based online. They carry the hottest brands like Louis Vuitton, Chanel, Gucci, and Hermes. I learned how to say that. Hermes. It's not Hermes like it's spelled. It's pronounced Hermes. Consign with them for a 30% fee, which is 20% less than most consignment stores. And you can find them online at fierceluxurybyashley.com and on Facebook in their exclusive group, Fierce Luxury by Ashley. This episode is also brought to you by Jonathan Reels, who is trying to raise money to petition, to outreach, and to prove to people that he is, in fact, a real person and not some computer-generated noob that I brought on my show last week just because I wanted to fool you all. This money is actually going to a real person. We are not taking this, so give him money at www.jonathan.cash. This episode is brought to you by Jack Casey. I don't know why we continue to do this, but I don't know why he continues to pay us. But Jack Casey is a cult leader who has written some books called The Royal Green and Silver Throned, and he has a new book coming out called Crowned by Gold, which will probably be covered with a crown that looks somewhat pornographic in some way, and there's probably going to be some kind of animal, some sprite of some kind in the background. I'm not really 100% sure, but I think that's supposed to be coming out like tomorrow. So if it doesn't come out tomorrow, all you have to do is call this guy, personal injury attorney Chris Reynolds, attorney at law, and he will sue Jack Casey for you and get you lots of money. This episode is also brought to you by Cumberland Cannabis Co. They are a viable, ethical, and effective cannabis company coming to you from the state of Tennessee, the wonderful state of Tennessee, which I will be in a couple of weeks, and I can't wait. If you want to buy weed online, go to cumberlandcannabisco.com and get the greatest weed you can purchase from Tennessee online. This episode is brought to you by Adderpan. And if you are looking for something to just scare the living bejesus out of you, this is the game for you. It is the premier release from Irving Games. It is a first-person Five Nights style game featuring creepy characters like that weird-looking ginger doll thing that's right on there in that picture, and you're gonna fight them and they're gonna try to kill you, and Dolly and her haunted imaginary friends will play the role of a security guard trying to survive night shift armed with a camera and flashlights, and there's going to be a lot of jump scares, or as we call them here, crap your pants moments, or anxiety ridden issues, whatever you want to call it. We all have our own thing. This episode is also brought to you by Joe. You can get this for $5 on Steam, everybody. $5. Go to Steam. It's $5. Don't go to Starbucks tomorrow. Buy Adderpan. This episode is brought to you by Joe Solosky. He is running for Pennsylvania governor. He is the key to Pennsylvania's success. And if you live in the Pennsylvania region of these United States, you should just vote for this man, because that just makes the most amount of sense in the world. Vote for Joe Solosky. Vote for Joe Solosky because he is the key to Pennsylvania's success. Now, again, thank you all for tuning in. And you have no idea how much it means to me every week. I am very excited about this guest. I am going to be hanging out with this guest this weekend. She is currently the chair of the Libertarian Party of Mississippi, and she has so much on her plate because of the event going on in Tunica, Mississippi, that I can't believe she took the time out of her busy schedule to talk to me. So please welcome with me, everybody, the wonderful and fabulous Vicky Rose.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Exhausted, but it's a good exhaustion. I know at the end of the week, the weekend, end of the day, whatever you want to call it, it's all for a good cause.
It is all for a good cause. And we will get into that cause in just a little bit. But before we get into the cause that you have been working so diligently on for the last, however,
I don't know.
Yeah, for however long. I was going to say like something hyperbolic, and then I said I might be wrong, and I might be undershooting this, so I'm just not even going to take a random guess at this.
Well, actually, we only really boots on the ground really probably about 8 to 10 weeks.
Okay, all right. So yeah, I was going to say 6 months, which would have been hyperbolic enough, I think.
It should be 6 months to a year, but I'll get into that later.
That's fair. Jimmy, let me know if my volume is low. Okay. Well, here, let me turn it up for you. Thank you for letting me know, Jimmy. So before we get into everything that's going on with the event this weekend and in beautiful Tunica, Mississippi, let's talk a little bit about you. how is it that you found yourself into the mental institution that is the Libertarian Party? How did you decide that, you know what, I'm going to piss off every single one of my friends and family members by joining a not party that they're a member of? What got you here?
I think it's a journey, a life journey. And
Fair.
most people that I talk to, it is, the work that I do as an individual, helping people with healing and whatnot, life is a journey. And I just see this as part of, for me, my growth process. And if I looked all the way back to even the beginning of my marriage, when we got married, I was like, oh, I'm going to do a home birth. And from that point on, I really started more personal responsibility. And we don't want to take our kids to the doctor a lot. So how can we manage our own personal health without having to go to the doctor all the time? So I started, looking into herbs and other natural means, and how do we care for our bodies and take personal responsibility if we're not sick. We're not going to spread our germs. My kids hate it. I don't let them go anywhere when they're sick for like 2 weeks. And this is what we've always done. COVID hits, and we all got sick in like February or March. Like 2 months where I didn't let any of my kids leave the house, and we didn't even have lockdowns yet. And then by the time the lockdowns came, they could go out, but none of their friends could. So they were so mad. I'm like, hey, it's about living a life of personal responsibility.
It is.
And during that process, I learned about Ron Paul.
Okay.
Through that process, because after our first child was born, home birth, I have 8 kids, but when Samuel was born,
I feel for you on a personal level. You eight? You have 8?
Yes, sir.
Wow. Okay. All right. Sorry, that took me out of my
That's a whole other podcast, right?
That's completely different, because so my beautiful and lovely girlfriend, superfan Sarah Anderegg, has 2 that we all live together now, and I can't imagine 8 of those.
Well, it's like when you get to 6, like, well, that's the wrong phrase. When you get to child, 6, when they're about 10, when they're about 10 or 12 years old, they can help out a lot, right?
Right.
8, 10, 12, but they start to learn from each other, and it actually gets easier.
Okay. So what you're saying is we should just...
And it's still hard because you have a lot of activities and bigger grocery bill, things like that.
Right. But
it does kind of, the kids learn from each other so quickly.
Okay. Yeah. So what you're saying is Sarah and I should have 14 children.
So back to the Ron Paul thing. So my midwife said, we were going to get vaccines. She said, we might want to look into that. That's all she said. You're very respectful of people and individual choice. And in the home birth community, I find that with midwives, they're very, very respectful. They don't push their ideas on people, and it's freedom.
Right.
So I did, and that's where I learned about Ron Paul. Fast forward to 2007, he announces he's running for president. Oh, I know that name, and I got so excited. So I got involved in the Ron Paul campaign in Minnesota, and I became a precinct captain. Found out, how effective it is to work at the micro level, and So in Minnesota, we have because I don't live there anymore, we had precincts. So everybody voted on primary election day, and then you go to your precincts, and then you get so many delegates per precinct. They'll go to a caucus, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And the precinct that I worked, my kids, 5 kids and I, in like 20-degree weather and colder, went to every single door in that precinct, and he won.
Oh, wow.
Ron Paul won in that precinct. And we had enough time to hit maybe a third of the doors in the next precinct over, and he got second place in that precinct. So that was a huge motivating factor for me that, hey, this can be done. If you just do it right and do the work, put the time, the effort into, things can change. So we wanted to work within the Republican Party. That's when we learned about the Libertarian Party, and on the Ron Paul forums and the message boards, and people talking about, come over to the Libertarian Party. And I'm like, no, we're going to work within the Libertarian. Republican Party, we can change it. We kept trying, eventually moved to Mississippi, and met Danny Bedwell, who was the state chair at the time for many years, actually, the Libertarian Party of Mississippi. became a great friend of the family. He was running for U.S. Congress a couple of times, and he's like, you need to join the Libertarian Party. No. My husband ended up being the chair of our county affiliate for the Republican Party, and 2012 comes along, and we were very vocal about supporting Ron Paul, and he got a call from the state chair of the Republican Party in Mississippi. We hadn't had the primaries yet, and they told him, you have to support Mitt Romney. You cannot support anybody else. We hadn't even had a primary yet. So he resigned the next day, and we're like, screw this. You guys just abandoned me. You told me who I can and can't. We went to the Libertarian Party. Right. I didn't actually join the party until 2017 when I started helping the State Party of Mississippi with their annual convention. I was like, I'm doing all this work for it. I believe in it. I just need to just bite the bullet and just join. Stop talking about it and just do it.
And so that's not too far off from how I got to the Libertarian Party back in 2008. I knew about Ron Paul and I was following his campaign, but even back then I was a realist, and I was like, he's not going to win. It's going to be Mitt Romney. We already know it's going to be Mitt Romney, or sorry, not Mitt Romney. I apologize. McCain. 2012 was a different story. I knew that, like, in 2008, I was like, he's not going to win. It's going to be John McCain. And I was looking at the ballot options, and I hated John McCain because I grew up, and my dad constantly told me that McCain, he's just a Democrat, and he would switch to the Democrats if he could, but he wants to keep his standing in the Republican Party, and so he's never going to do it, but he's a Democrat. And then I wasn't going to vote for Barack Obama because he was a socialist, still is. And I was like, I can't vote for either of these people. And like all of my friends who were Republicans growing up, all my family members were like, no, we have to vote for McCain because McCain's going to be, he's going to be great. And I'm like, you spent the last however many years of my life telling me how terrible of a person John McCain is. And now you all are trumpeting for him just because he's got an R after his name. Why are you voting for this guy? And so I voted for my first Libertarian that year in Bob Barr, and Libertarian that year in Bob Barr, because I was like, I'm not voting for either of these people, and I want to feel good about myself, so I'm going to vote for the guy that's running for Libertarian, because at least he's kind of liberty leaning.
I think I voted for the Constitution Party candidate that year.
Did you? Yeah.
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 And I don't think I've ever voted for a Republican Party president except one time.
I voted.
And I think it was Bush the first time.
Yeah, I did vote for Bush, and then I started learning more about liberty, and that's when I kind of veered away from that, and I've basically been voting Libertarian ever since. So, it's similar, but the John McCain thing was the one that really got me after being told how he's an awful Democrat for years. For most of my life, John McCain was this terrible Democrat who sided with the Democrats, and then having all of these Republicans going, no, he's the one. He's going to do great. We need to vote for him. And that was the first year that I remember hearing, this is the most important election of our lifetimes. And I went, no, it's not. You have two Democrats running against each other based on everything you've ever told me. There's no difference here. I'm voting for the Libertarian. And then they blamed me when McCain lost. And
it's your fault. It's your
fault.
One vote.
My one vote is the reason that John McCain lost Virginia in 2008.
I've been told that just by me stumping for other candidates, it's my fault.
Right. I started working for Libertarian campaigns in 2014. There was a special election January of 2014 that I started working for, and it was a congressional election, House of Representatives, and there was a Libertarian, a Democrat, and a Republican. The Democrat lost by about that much. It was more. She lost by less than 2.8%. Can you guess how much the Libertarian got?
Wow.
And every Democrat that I knew here in Florida, and that wasn't many because I had just moved here. Every Democrat that I knew blamed me. And they said it's your fault that Alex Sink lost. And every Republican I met blamed me because their candidate almost lost. And I was like, everybody can't be mad at me. Like, one of you, sure, whatever. Like, yeah, I'll take the hate from one of you, but both of you can't be mad at me. I couldn't have stolen votes from all of you. So, and that was when I started getting more involved and realizing that both of the parties were essentially the exact same.
They are.
Matt Rose apologizes, and he says, "You voted for Bush because I probably told you to, and please forgive him."
I am my own person.
Personal responsibility. We accept it as we are.
Right. I can always choose a different path.
So you ended up joining the Libertarian Party in 2017, even after the Mitt Romney stuff happened in 12.
Yes. Yes.
So you have worked on a number of campaigns, and you were the Mississippi State Coordinator for the Jorgensen Cohen campaign.
Yes. After she received the nomination, I was a delegate for Mississippi. I immediately started messaging the campaign, and I said, I'm willing to be the state coordinator for the Jorgensen campaign. And at the time, I was the District 1 rep for the state party. And like, yeah, we'll have you on. And I learned a lot. I didn't stick with it the whole time though, because I ended up running for a special election.
Fair.
But
Fair.
I did work on that. I did work on the effort to bring her to Mississippi in Jackson and Hattiesburg. And after that event is when I bowed out, because the special election was in September.
Okay.
And she came to Mississippi in August.
And what was your special election for?
Well, in 2019, I ran against a 20-year incumbent for the State House of Representatives in my district. And I did pretty good. I got 23% of the vote first time running in a district that, hindsight is 2020, you can only literally win in that race if you're a Republican, because of the way the map is drawn. And it will never be anything but Republican, period. No one, independent, no one can win that race unless they're a Republican. But he lost in 2000. I mean, he won in 2019, and there were some health issues with him and his wife, and I knew that he wasn't going to serve his whole term. So it really was bothering me. And a lot of lawmakers and even lobbyists that I met in 2019, Vicky, we're cheering for you. We don't want Chisholm to win. We want to work with you. We want you in Jackson. We need you in Jackson. We need your voice in Jackson. I was hearing this from Republicans and Democrats every time I ran into somebody. And I don't understand why Gary Chisholm is running again. He's not very healthy. And, no one understands. No one in the House can understand why he's doing it, but he did it anyway. And 6 months later, he resigned.
Right. So
there was a special election for that seat. So I jumped in that race.
And how did you do on the second race?
There were about 6 other special elections during that race. And
Okay.
the thing that
There were
really
6
pissed me
special elections during that race?
off, for across the state.
Oh, okay. Well, still,
The governor set the date.
Okay.
And what really pissed me off was that this is a presidential election year.
Right.
2020. Presidential election year. There was one special election for a state house seat that the seat was vacated in April of 2020. He moved that special election to the general election day that everyone else is there, November 3rd, whatever it was, right? So it was from April all the way up to November. Well, Gary Chisholm and a whole bunch of other people resigned in like June and July, and maybe 1 or 2 of them in May. He moved all those to September 22nd because they were all Republicans, with the exception of 2 of them. They were all Republican seats. low voter turnout. I
So,
had 14% of registered voters in my district turn out to that special election.
so
If you do the math, I actually did better than I did in 2019, but I still only, of the 14% that showed up, I only got 17% of the vote. And it was a three-way race.
okay. So, what did you learn in your 2019 race that you brought to the 2020? Like, what did you change in your campaign strategy?
I think it was more, I have to hit more doors. That's what I knew. And
Right.
in my race was about I really hit it hard for about 6 weeks, because here, I kid you not, I did what I needed to get on the ballot, which was, because it's a special election, I needed to gather signatures. So I got on the ballot last minute. And then the Jorgensen thing happened, and I was out, and then my dog got shot by the police like the next week. So I had to deal with like a week of that and getting him taken care of. And, about a week to 10 days, I had to deal with that. And then like 2 days later, as I'm out trying to put out campaign signs, my car got totaled. So instead of like 8 weeks, I had maybe 5 to 6 weeks to campaign.
So,
And we hit, Justin Cornett came down out of Nashville. Amazing man. And we were able to hit about 3,000 doors in about 3 weeks.
oh, that's amazing. That's good.
It was really good. And I outraised all of the Republican candidates 3 times what they raised, and hit more doors than they did. And I still got 3rd place. I had people coming up to me after. So what did I would say that there's things that I took away, the combination of both of those races, rather than like, so what did I learn from the 2019 that I applied in 2020? In 2020, it was hit it harder. Okay. And try to get in front of the churches more, try to get in front of some of the demographic that the Republicans don't reach out to more. And I was trying to do that. But with 6 weeks, it's really hard. I had a lot of people excited about my campaign. And they would come up to me though after September 22nd. I have your card on my refrigerator, and I'm going to vote for you. Thank you, but the election already happened. The date is on the card.
And actually, so that makes sense. So I don't know what Mississippi state laws are when it comes to special elections and things like that. I know certain states have rules on whether or not they can be within a certain amount of time of an already planned election. So I don't want to hit the governor too hard on that, because I don't know Mississippi state laws.
No, they're because, like I said, there was somebody who vacated their seat in like March or April,
Right.
because they used to be so what happened with that person, they were a state representative, they were elected in 2019. There were actually 2 of them, and they previously were teachers, and they were receiving their pension. But then when they got their job as a state lawmaker, they found out that they can't continue to receive their PERS. So they wanted to continue to receive their pension while they were a state lawmaker and do the job of the state lawmaker. So they resigned,
Right.
because they couldn't do that. And that happened in like April. And Gary resigned in June. The April special election from that seat was in November. So it was a bigger spread. The governor could have done it. It was just what he picked.
Okay, in that case, I will hit the governor for it. Like at first, I didn't want to, because I was like, I don't know Mississippi's voter law, election laws. I'm not going to hit him on this, but yeah, the fact that he spread it the way that he spread it, and to make sure that there would be a lower count or a lower voter turnout, is you had that facing you. But like you said, from the 2019 election to 9 months later in the 2020, even though you didn't do as well, you still did better, even with the lower turnout. So
I did.
What I'm hearing, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, please. What I'm hearing is for libertarians, because I have to disagree with something that you said a little bit, because you said no Republican will ever win this district because of the way that it's drawn.
No, only Republicans. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Only Republicans will win this district because of the way that it's drawn. And I don't think that is accurate, because I think a lot of people are only voting one way or the other because they only really know those two schools of thought, and they are still under the belief that you have to have an R or a D to win. I think that we will get to a point, and I think that your election proves that more people got that way in 9 months. Over the course of 9 months, enough people were switching over that you did significantly better in the race 9 months later by hitting more doors, by showing them that there's another option.
Well, 9 months later, it was all of us on the ballot were independents. I was the only woman on the ballot.
Oh, okay. So everybody on the ballot was an independent?
Yes.
Oh.
So you can't equate that really.
Fair. All right.
Now, granted, the state did the media did a wonderful thing, and there's an article in the Clarion Ledger that talked about all the special elections that were coming up the next day or whatever it was, and listed every single race. I was the only one out of like 30 people that they put a party affiliation behind, and everyone else on there, they didn't identify any type of party affiliation. If I'm interviewed on Super Talk, which I know Spike was interviewed on today, I can't even find my interviews on their website. You type in Vicky Rose, they're not on there. But you can find my interview that I just had with them about 6 weeks ago on their YouTube page, but you can't find it on their website.
Really?
I was interviewed in 2019 when I ran against Gary Chisholm.
Okay.
It's not on there. You can type it in and it doesn't show up.
So, I mean, you were facing, no matter what, you were facing like insurmountable odds in both races.
The Mississippi Bureau of Narcotics works really hard against me. They don't like me because I fight for kratom. I've kratom. I've been a force to be reckoned with. However you say it in the Golden Triangle here in Mississippi. I'm sorry.
I'm in both schools of thought on kratom and kratom. Like it's potato. Whatever you call it. As long as you don't say kratom. If you say kratom, I don't talk to you. Because I know people who do. I don't know if you know this or not. Before Muddied Waters got started, Muddied Waters comes from the fact that kava looks like mud. And it actually got started because I was going up to the Florida legislature to fight to keep kratom legal here.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
no, I did not know that.
Yeah, I was doing a lot of work with the American Kratom Association, and Paul, I forget Paul's name right now. I was doing a lot of work with him and the American Kratom Association. Susan Ash was the head over there at the time, and they were trying to ban kratom here in Florida, and I was one of the people, boots on the ground. I was up there giving talks on kratom and the good that it does and how it's, a leaf. It's a leaf.
Right.
It's not, tainted
from
by
a tree.
Right, from a tree. It's like the tea that some of you drink. Some of you probably only drink liquor, but there's tea also that you can have, and that's all this is. And you're trying to ban it, and we kept it legal here. So I consider
they've been working at the county level. There's this group they call the Lowndes County Task Force, and they've been going all over the state of Mississippi and trying to do it at the micro level and expand to the state level.
Yep.
And Lowndes County is about 15 minutes from my house. And we were actually able last year to flip Monroe County. They had a band, and we were able to flip it and get it off their banned substance list. And that was a win. That's you never hear about a ban going Schedule 1, a product going Schedule 1, and then government just like a year later flipping on it. So that was a huge win.
Except for the DEA, who did that in 2015. Right. Because I was in DC for that. Because the DEA, for anybody who doesn't, so real quick, for anybody who doesn't know what kratom is, kratom comes, like she said, it's the leaf of a tree. It comes from the kratom tree. It's found in Southeast Asia. And it's a cousin of the coffee plant. I haven't had to do this in a long time. It's a cousin of the coffee plant. You take the leaf, you dry it out, you grind it up, you steep it just like tea, and it depending on if you get a white, a green, or a red, it will relax you, give you euphoria, or give you energy. I did that in reverse order too. The white will give you energy. The white will give you a lot of energy. The red will relax you. The green gives you euphoria. And it is all natural. It is all natural. It is, I don't remember the exact term, but it connects to the opioid receptors in the brain, and it will help subside certain urges that some people might be having. I don't want to say that on the air.
It's a lot of people will use it for detoxing from heroin or other opioids.
Yep.
And
those were the urges.
People go through Suboxone. You know, they have to go on Suboxone, and you've got all the mental health centers in Mississippi pushing that on patients, and so they're saying kratom is bad. Well, anyway, we have the kratom topic here. I mean, we could talk about this forever, I'm sure.
Sorry. Yeah, I get so excited to talk about it whenever it gets brought up. I'm like, oh yeah, kratom, let's talk about it.
Well, that's why. But see, that's so when I ran in 2019, the Lowndes County Task Force started trying to infiltrate my campaign and do weird stuff, and I could tell that like my phone started being tapped and stuff. And then when Gary announced that he was withdrawing, same stuff started happening. I started getting these really weird messages. People started tracking me. My phone started being tapped again. Really? Like, so one of the questions was, so Vicky, with your healing work, do you tell people to use mushrooms? I'm like, no. And I'm not a licensed like, are you a psychiatrist? No, I'm not a psychiatrist or psychologist. They're trying to, get me in a corner and get me to trip myself up and say something bad and whatever. Okay, just go away.
Yeah. John Morrissey says that kratom seriously helps with my tinnitus, and he's got a kava bar that serves it 3 miles from the house in Winter Park, Florida. And I almost 100% guarantee I've been at that kava bar. I don't even know which one it is, but it's in Florida, so I've probably been there because I go to a lot of them. All right, so let's move on because we can talk about kratom all day long. And if anybody has any questions about it, shoot me a message on Facebook or email muddiedwatersmedia@gmail.com, and I will be happy to talk to you about it. And we can move on from there because we still need to talk about Breaking Boundaries, which is going on tomorrow.
Starting tomorrow, yes.
Starting tomorrow, right. So, Breaking Boundaries. Let's talk about this event. What is this event for?
Well,
I know. Let's tell the people what it's for. I know what it's about.
Well, the backstory on it is our annual convention was supposed to have been held in February at this facility, but snowpocalypse happened in Mississippi. The whole state was under an ice storm, and we couldn't have our annual convention in person. Nobody could get here. So, there's still people in Jackson, Mississippi without water because of the ice storm that happened in February. And it's crazy. So we went to a virtual convention, and the location that we were supposed to have it at said, well, we're going to have to keep your money because you put a deposit on it, or you can go ahead and have an event. And so we said, well, let's talk about having an event. And then, so after I was elected as the chair, I told the committee, I said, I really think that we should have an event where, and the name of it, I'm going to give a shout out to Laz Austin. He's probably not watching, but Laz was he was elected as our vice chair. He had to step down because of personal issues, but he is the one who came up with this title for it. And it's a great title because our goal is to bring people together that aren't even necessarily, in the Libertarian Party. They might have heard about the Libertarian Party. We don't have the word libertarian in the event because we're trying to bring people together and say, hey, we agree on criminal justice and that changes need to be made, or drug policy, or occupational and licensing reform, whatever it is. Because we know that the Libertarian Party has, this big umbrella, all these issues that so many different people can, pick out a few of them and agree with, but they might get hung up on a couple other things.
Right.
And in our state, we don't have a whole lot of branding for the Libertarian Party of Mississippi. This is an opportunity to bring people in and not have the mass media filters for them. Just say, hey, we're in agreement with ballot initiative 65, medical marijuana. We're in agreement with criminal justice from blah, 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 blah. And we want to work together because these issues are important to me. Not that, but these are. So it's a networking opportunity. It's also an opportunity to hear from other people on the stage like Spike, Adam Kokesh, Cole Ebel out of Tennessee. We've got Justin Cornett coming out and Joshua Eagle with For All Tennessee. There's other names and people talking about what they've been doing to break boundaries to bring liberty together. Right. And we're also breaking boundaries by coming together and breaking down the walls that separate us and recognizing that we're all human. We're all having this experience on this planet called Earth together, and we need to break these walls between us so we can actually move forward in love and liberty with each other. And one of our guests, his name is Jimmy Smith. He is a retired NFL player. And
he used to play for Jacksonville.
Yes, he played for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Right. He
has the best record as far as wide receivers go. And he actually, if you look at his record, it's really amazing. I'm not a football person. Of course I'm a player.
I was like, you're not a football player. I would have pegged you for a linebacker. Would have pegged you for a linebacker,
Yeah. No. I don't know the sport. I really know nothing about it, but I'm ever since I've been in contact with Jimmy, I'm looking at stats, comparing his stats to people who played at the same time as him. And he's right under there with like Jerry Rice, Deion Sanders, just yards, receptions, touchdowns. He was an amazing player.
No, he was great. Probably still is. He's probably a lot better than I am today.
I'm sure he is. But, the sad part is that he had a health problem.
Yeah.
If you read his story about his health issues that he had, appendicitis and some of the other, the resulting issues because of what happened with that, and being a football player, being in that environment, and he ended up with an addiction problem. And landed him in prison. And, the system of injustice that we have, sometimes it does look at people and give favoritism, but we're all at risk of it.
We are. Absolutely.
So yeah, he ended up in jail and ended up on house arrest for a number of years. And he's coming to share his story with us too. He'll be available for autographs and pictures and whatever. So
was he a kratom? Did he start drinking kratom to help with his issues? Do you know, or is this completely a separate thing?
He doesn't know anything about kratom. In my conversations with him, I brought it up, and he hadn't heard of it before.
Oh, I cannot wait to meet this man, for now multiple reasons. I get to add him to the number of football players that I have met throughout my life, and I get to talk to him about kratom. No, I'm really excited. So we've got him. He's going to be a speaker. You've got some guy named Spike. He's going to be there. I don't know. And then
yeah, does he have spiky hair? Is that why he's called Spike? Just kidding. I know why he's called Spike.
He sometimes he does have spiky hair, and that's what we're gonna go with because that's better than the other story. I love Spike. He's my brother and best friend. You got Adam Kokesh. Who else did you say? You said so many people right there in such quick succession.
Right. Hopefully we'll have our only elected libertarian in Mississippi there. I got to ride his butt a little bit. He didn't know if he was going to be able to make it or not because his business is doing a big project on the Gulf Coast. Steve McCluskey out of McLean, Mississippi, very
Okay.
small town, but very effective mayor. And then Cole Ebel out of Carthage, Tennessee.
Cole Ebel,
He's
that's right.
Right. So he's
Yeah.
been kicked out of city council meetings. He's an elected libertarian. He's a city councilman. And so get to hear from him. Carswell, I forgot to mention his name. He was one of the leaders of Brexit. And he is now the Mississippi Center for Public Policy president. And he is going to be on the stage to talk to us about liberty and why it's so important for America, and be open to take questions from the audience. So if you want to ask about Brexit or his time here, I mean, he's quite comical when you hear about some of his reactions to being in America, but he's also very real about what other people in other countries think about America and how much they love America, rather than what you hear the leftist woke media try to say about what other countries think about us. So it'll be a really, he's not going to be able to stay very long. He has to bow out right when he's done. He's going to speak at 11. So he has to be out of here by around noon. So he won't be able to hang out with. But so make sure if you're going to be here and you want to hear him, make sure you're in the room between 11 and 12. So Jimmy Smith, we've got, We Are the 74 will be out here, and they're going to be talking about the medical marijuana initiative issue in our state and why that's so important for our state, and their plans to run candidates to challenge state lawmakers who are not listening to the voice of the people.
Right.
We have Rebecca Cheney. She is with Mississippi Parents for Vaccine Rights. It's a health freedom organization. And she'll be able to talk to us about, why it's important for us to be able to choose our own health care for us, for ourselves and for our families. And she's also a constitution. She teaches constitution classes to children, so she's very well versed in it. And she'll be talking about what they've been able to do in the legislature and their experiences and our frustrations in Mississippi with regard to archaic vaccine laws here. We have a panel of, it's been really hard to get lawmakers to attend. A lot of people have wanted to, but there is this weekend and into early next week, there's this big legislative conference for all the southeastern, the lawmakers of the southeastern United States. They're convening on Nashville to have some big conference. And so a lot of lawmakers are out of town. They've already dedicated themselves to this event. And so we've got 2 members of the Mississippi Freedom Caucus that will be in attendance. And the purpose of bringing them in, they're both Republicans.
Right. Yeah, I've done work with them.
What's that?
I've done work with the Freedom Caucus before.
They're good. They're a good group of guys and gals. And their purpose of being here, what I told this panel, is for us to find out what it's like to work in the belly of the beast in Jackson, and why in the world can we not get bills out of committees, and what can we do to help our lawmakers who are actually trying to help move Mississippi in the right direction. What are we doing wrong as citizens, and what can we do better? And what are we doing right? Because I think a lot of times we get so emotional about, let's take ballot initiative 65. We get so emotional about the ballot being turned over, or you don't have the right to, to the access to what helps your body to heal itself. You believe that it heals itself. And there's a lot of, personal energy tied into that. So a lot of name calling starts happening, threats start being made, and our lawmakers, they tune you out.
They do.
They're only human.
I would do the same thing. I don't really like, if somebody's just attacking me personally and threatening, you're not somebody I want to spend. I don't want to waste my time expending that energy on you. Like, I would rather talk to somebody who is willing to have a conversation as opposed to threaten.
And they don't want to be talked at. They want to be talked with. And they want you to ask them questions. Why? How? What? And hear them. They, a lot of them will tell you, I don't know everything. But we don't hear them say that because we're too emotional. So there's nothing wrong with emotion. And in fact, that's, what I work with people on an individual basis is, working with emotions. it's part of our experience as humans, but it's what you do with the emotions and how you choose to react to them yourself internally and toward other people. That's where some damage might start to happen. So I'm really excited and really thankful that Eubanks and Criswell are able to attend and speak to us. And I'm hoping, I haven't asked Justin and Joshua yet, but I'm hoping the two of them will also sit on the panel to give some insight into their work as lobbyists to answer these questions also. Granted, they're, you know, working in Tennessee, but hey, we're in the Southeast. We still have this pretty much the same kind of mentality in our legislatures here.
And I don't remember the name of the book, which I should remember because I was talking about it all week, but you want to steal the good ideas from people. And if they have good ideas that are working where they are, you want to take them, borrowing brilliance. You want to borrow those ideas and use them where you are because it's working somewhere. And you want to make sure that you are using what works. You're not trying to reinvent a wheel. You are trying to improve on the ideas of other people.
Absolutely.
So I know that you have to be going soon, but Brian told me that you had a surprise for me in the notes, and so.
Did he tell you anything else?
Not much.
Okay. Well, I've mentioned a few times that I'm an energy healer, and he wanted me to offer, and so part of my work sometimes I'll do it. I don't know if you ever watch any of my live streams. I also do card readings. So he wanted me to offer you the opportunity to read some cards for you, and I would love that opportunity if you're open to it.
What the hell? Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I hear the stipulations. If you ask me a yes or no question, I will change it up, okay? Because nothing's guaranteed. You can make a different choice that would influence the outcome. So I'm not a fortune teller. I don't tell the future because different things can happen that, you know, it's like moving the lines, shifting and moving things. It's okay if you ask me a yes or no question, just know that I will maybe change up the question a little bit as to how I'm pulling the cards. But typically when somebody asks me a question, it's, I need to know more information about something. If you have a topic you wanted to know more information about, or what do you need to know about the event in Tunica? Or sometimes, a lot of times people will just say, I don't know what I need to know right now. So what do I need to know right now? And they just kind of trust that and whatever comes out.
Okay. What do we need to do to make Muddied Waters more well known?
That's a great question. 1, 2, 3. No, let's see. Okay. Okay. When you say we,
we being the people who work at Muddied Waters.
Okay, I need some clarification. When you're saying well-known, I'm seeing that there's there's all these possibilities, like, because you could be more well-known in certain markets. Can you narrow it down for me? Like today, what kind of a market are you trying to get into that you would like to be, or are you just saying in general, you just want to explode?
I want to make Muddied Waters the main source of income for anybody working for it.
Okay. So I'm going to be focusing on what does Matt need to know about growing Muddy Waters to the point of where this can be income producing.
Yes, perfect.
For all of it. Okay. So I've got 2 decks here today. I just grabbed the 2 that I felt pulled to. The first one I'm pulling what is called Energy Oracle cards by Sandra Ann Taylor. And then I've also got a tarot deck that I'm playing with here. Sorry about the silence there. You can
No.
feel free to talk if you want to while I'm doing this. It doesn't bother me.
Okay. I wasn't sure, and I didn't want to interrupt. If
That's okay.
okay,
That's okay. I don't forget, I've got 8 kids, so they can
That's
distract me and whatnot. And I'll tell them hush now if I need to. But some people do need, some workers do need, the quiet and stuff. It's just,
Fair.
we all work differently.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure, so I did not want to interrupt the process.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I think at the Tunica, if anybody is in the Tunica area, I think there are still tickets available for some of the events, and you should definitely go and purchase some.
Yep. And Sunday morning, we're going to have a brunch, and it's exclusive. None of that. We're not going to allow anyone to live stream from that event. And because we've got Jimmy Smith and Adam Kokesh will be on a panel together that Spike will be moderating, talking about their experiences in the prison system. And because Jimmy Smith has been nominated for the Hall of Fame, we're just trying to be, respectful, for that. So this is an exclusive event. And I think we maybe only have like 10. I have to go back and look, maybe 10 brunch tickets left for that. And they're $75 a piece.
Which is going to be a fantastic event. So if anybody's in the Tunica area, and I think me, Cajun, and Spike are doing a show on Saturday that I have dubbed the Tunica to the Tunica event, and Spike hates it, so I'm definitely going to make a flyer and call it Tunica.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, we have tickets are only $15 pre-register, and if you guys are intending on coming, I have been told by a few people that there are a lot of people that are going to come, and we've been trying to plan for this event, and we don't have a whole lot of registrations. If you could pre-register and save yourself $5, please go to the website and do that, because that will help us a lot in the next 24 hours.
And you can
I know a lot of people are just like, I'll just drop a 20 at the door. Thank you. I really appreciate the $5 extra, but it helps their planning, because I've got people, I'm actually in one of the ballrooms right now, and we've been here since yesterday. My daughter had a doctor appointment yesterday in the city. So right here in Tunica. And so they're all like, how many tables am I set up? I don't know. So right now I'm hearing anywhere between 200 and 400 people are showing up. I have no clue. No clue.
So everybody register, you get to save $5 that way, and you can spend that money by getting Adderpan for only $5 at the Google Play Store. At Steam, not the Google Play Store. On Steam, you can get Adderpan for the $5 you are saving by pre-registering to the Tunica at Tunica event going on. Matt Rose says that some would say that you have 9 kids, with him being the 9th. And then he said, good food, great speakers, sponsors, and of course, Matt Rose. And me. Like, I'm going to be there. So you're going to get Matt squared. You're going to get Matt Rose and Matt Wright. It's worth the $15. Go and register.
Okay, so I got a couple cards here.
Okay.
So you're asking, what do you need to know in order to allow this? Well, the first thing we got here is there is the potential here for this to be your door to personal healing and happiness, right? The door is flung wide open. There's spirit or dove or whatever flying right through there. You need to be focusing on that, putting your energy into what it feels like. So this, I'm going to show the card again here. I want you to look through the door and notice how, I want you to, there's a question I'm going to say, and I want you to tell me what it is that you feel, or even, you don't even have to say it out loud if you don't want to, just know for yourself. When I show this to you, what thought do you get? What piece or sense do you get about it looking through the doorway? What kind of feeling does it evoke within you looking through that?
Joy.
So the joy that you see, that's what you want to hold on to. Okay. That's the feeling that you want to feel as you're focusing on, I am able to provide. This is a business that is flourishing and thriving and growing. I want to feel that. Okay, so the prayer isn't in the words. The prayer is in the feeling, the outcome. How do you feel when you've accomplished that?
Okay.
So feel that joy. It's like if if you could say a time travel were real, you're taking the future and you're putting it into now, so you can create that for you. Okay. The next card I got here for you is all tied up. The first thing is, what are you doing in your life that is preventing you from, that's kind of tying you up and preventing you from being able to access that joy? What are the things that are preventing you from being able to put a little bit more time and energy into it, and reevaluate those things, because they're preventing you from being able to move forward. Cornucopia. So this is saying there is a harvest that's available for you once you discover these things that are tying you up, and you're willing to either cut the cords or make the effort. I'm sorry, I'm moving around a lot. My leg is cramping.
No, you're fine.
Making the effort to significantly loosen them so they can eventually become unraveled.
Okay.
Okay. So the next one here. Do you have any questions about any of those so far?
No.
Got two more here.
I have a lot of introspection to go through, because I got to figure out what's binding me.
Well, we'll see. We'll see the next two cards. They might give you some insight here. Okay, so we've got joy. Who is this? My leg. I'm sorry. Who's the? Are you the owner of Muddied Waters?
Spike and I own it together.
Okay. Well, what's this one here? Is there, okay, is there, because the King of Pentacles came up reversed. So what do I need to cut? Is there someone, either something that seems to be controlling, or an idea that seems to be, that you can't quite let go of, that seems to be kind of controlling your decisions, controlling some of the outcomes, some of the, what, it feels like, no, it's not stubbornness. Because in the upright position, the Pentacles, talks about money.
Okay.
Also, and represents that. Okay, losing sight of what's truly important.
Okay.
Reevaluate the goals of Muddy Waters. Do you need to reevaluate the like the mission statement? Or to possibly get back to your mission statement? Have you walked away from it a little bit? Are you just putting your arm, you just grasping at so many different ways, maybe like just throwing stuff out there and seeing what sticks?
Right, spaghetti noodling it, seeing what sticks to the wall. Right.
Yep. You need to get some control back.
Okay. Because
you're all over the place, and you need to focus and hone in on what's truly important with the goals. Your end goal is this door to personal healing and happiness. And the question is, how do you get there? But you need a mission statement in order to get you there.
Right.
And I see you on the year here. So this is there are seasons. There are times and there are seasons for everything. So as you're moving through the time and the situations with the various, seasons of political or whatever it is, keep in mind that this is a season for us to talk about this topic. Let's focus on this for a while. Just a second here. Okay, and that's why cornucopia was coming out, right? Because you're going to plant and you're going to harvest.
Okay.
You're going to harvest at the right time. You're going to plant the seeds, and you're not going to pick them to harvest. You're not going to harvest the fruit until it's ripe and it's ready in its proper season.
So it's about knowing when to plant the seeds and when to harvest the fruits of the labor.
Right, because you're getting tied. So what's tying you up is all of this, the lack of focus. on your mission. Everything you do needs to tie you back to asking yourself, okay, so what is our goal? And is this bringing us back to our goal?
Okay.
Is this bringing us around to our mission? I feel like there's one more that's waiting for you. Okay.
So far, I'm hearing I should cut Cajun.
Is he watching?
I think so.
This one's yours. Not sure why this is the one that wanted to come out for you. Just a second here. Is it towards self? Yes. Okay, so hostilities. This is towards self. There's a sense of like judging yourself of you take an action and you're like, I shouldn't have done that. And then you do another thing and why did I do that? Shouldn't have done that.
Right.
That's personal, that's interpersonal hostility, and you need to own your actions and just say, this is an action that, okay, I made the choice. Okay, I'm going to make a different choice next time, and own it. Don't judge yourself for the action, because every day we have an opportunity to make a different choice. Stop. Try to get out of this inner personal destruction for yourself, because as you are judging yourself, everything else that you're putting your hands to is also influenced by that energy.
Right. In the comments, Kendra Biller, I'm sorry if I said your name wrong, Kendra. Kendra Biller says, I feel attacked. Oh, wait. And I was thinking, oh, wow, she's attacking me personally, which, I mean, because I question almost every decision I make all the time. So that one cuts deep.
Yeah, it's about, when I work with my clients, I teach them, it's, we work on okay, yes, you might have decided to not take that job. Okay, well, where's the silver lining in it?
Right.
Can you find, and some people, I can't find a silver lining. Well, that's okay. You need to say that that's okay. You can't find the silver lining, because someday you will. But right now you can't, because there's so much other stuff going on. There's every decision we make, we can always find something good. This Tunica event, I mean, the frustrations with not having the event in February for our annual convention, we could have just been completely frustrated with it and just like, oh, good, what are we gonna do now? But instead, there's so many blessings that have come out of it. And our new executive committee, Zach Britt, he met Spike, he went up to one of the conventions, and I think he met Brian and Spike and sat down with them and told him, oh yeah, we want to have this thing in, Tunica, and or we're gonna have it. We don't know when. What did you speak? And yeah, and then everything just started to happen for it, and it's shaping up to be an amazing time. And I'm really excited. I cannot wait to meet everybody. And
oh, absolutely.
I know I'm going to be running around like a chicken with my head cut off, but I know I'll also have time to breathe. When the dance music comes on, I'm going to relax.
Right. One thing that you said that I want to touch on before I let you go, because I know you have to leave very soon.
We'll pick up Adam.
Yeah, got to go pick up Adam Kokesh, and he probably doesn't want you to leave him at the airport. Knowing what I know of him. But you said finding the silver lining in things. When most of my life, I've struggled with addiction, heartbreak, just a bunch of issues that I've had throughout my entire life. And every bad decision I ever made seemed to be the one that was dictating my life. And I was always kind of resting on those bad decisions, and those were the ones that were guiding me. And 2020 was, the year from hell for everybody except for me, because that was the year that I was giving up on all of those bad decisions. And that was also the year superfan Sarah came to Florida, and she and we'd been dating for like 7 months at this point. But she came to Florida. I got a job that was paying me, and things were really starting to move in the direction that we wanted to. And what I said to her at one point, and I still mean it, is I'm happy for all of the bad decisions I made, because each and every one of them led me to where I am today. It led me to being with her, and it led me to the job that I have, which I love very much, but I'd rather do this full time. And it led me to starting Muddied Waters, and it led me to everything that I've done. Led me to where I am today, and I am the happiest now that I have been in my entire life that I can recall. When I was 3 or younger, who knows? But in my entire life, I'm the happiest now overall than ever in my life. And if I hadn't made all of those bad decisions, I wouldn't be here. So even if you can't find the silver lining then, you may find it later. She is now standing there in my periphery because she heard that, and she's giving me sweet faces, and I'm going to ignore her and continue focusing on you.
Come here. There's some just very quick here, something you said about your past and the decisions that you made. I just want to reiterate, own your decisions, because when we live in our past, when we continue to percolate and stew over choices that we made in the past, right, you're actually living in the past. You're like time traveling, and you're constantly putting yourself back there in that past. You're not living like right now. I shouldn't have, and then I did all that, or I bought that for myself, and now look where I am right now because I did that. And you're just constantly beating yourself up on that. Well, that's what your mind is looking for then, because your mind thinks that that's what you want. Even though you're not happy with it, your mind is thinking that this is what life is about. So I have to continue to bring these opportunities to myself. So I have to keep finding ways to disappoint myself. So I'm just going to keep doing it. So you dwell on it, and you keep getting more opportunities for that. Right. It's like that. They say, be careful what you pray for, because you just might as well
because you might get it.
God, I need more patience. What's going to happen? He's going to give you opportunities to practice patience.
Right.
God, help me to not be angry. You're going to get opportunities to practice not being angry.
Right.
Right? Stop living in the past and live right now.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Vicky, I know you have to go. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for coming here today. I appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time. If you need to tell anybody anything about the event tomorrow, anything going on in Mississippi, pitch it right now, so that way everybody can go visit the sites and the Facebooks and the whatevers, and let them know. Pitch away.
Okay. So we want to see you. We want to meet you. Even if you're not a libertarian, I don't care if you are this little magical unicorn. Okay. I want to see you. I want to meet you. And so does everybody else. You can come out to the Horseshoe Resort Casino and Hotel in Tunica, Mississippi. It's right on the border of Arkansas. So if you're in Arkansas, Louisiana, or Tennessee, like in the Memphis area, you have no excuse not to be here. Right. And it starts at 10 a.m. on Saturday. The main event does, and it goes all the way into the wee hours in the morning, or late at night. And you can drink, you can dance, you can gamble, and you can have a lot of fun and fellowship and network. We're having a raffle. Raffle tickets are $1 each. Our biggest prize as of right now is a 43-inch smart TV. Right? So bring your dollar bills. Bring yourself, bring your fun, bring your motivation, and bring your spirit. You can go to bit.ly. I'm sorry, it's in the comments. It's going on in the comments. Y'all make sure you click on that for the Eventbrite and pre-register. Please pre-register. We only have a handful of tickets left for the brunch. If I don't know if the system has them locked out. If you still want a ticket for the brunch, email me, chairman@mslp.org, and I'll get you hooked up. Okay. So Main event on Tuesday.
MSLP?
If you want to be a, we still have opportunity for gold and platinum personal sponsors. If you want to be with the reception and private with Spike, Adam, and Jimmy Smith tomorrow night at 8 p.m. at the hotel, that's a $500 or for one person or $1,000 for a couple to come on and out here for that.
Well, perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on. I cannot wait to meet you tomorrow and to hang out with you this weekend. I know superfan Sarah Anderegg is looking forward to it. It's going to be a great time. We are all going to have a blast and a half. And everybody who is watching us right now should tune in to the Tunica event on Saturday that we will be live streaming here on Muddied Waters Media. So thank you so much. And
thank you for having me on.
No, absolutely. Go get Adam. Tell him I said hi.
I'll tell him.
Okay. And I will see you all tomorrow. I appreciate it.
See you tomorrow. Good night.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will see many of you tomorrow night in Tunica. To anybody else that is not going to be there, be sure to tune in Saturday night. Because we are going to be live streaming a portion of this event right here, Muddied Waters Media. It's going to be me, Spike Cohen, the Cajun Libertarian, and other guests that are going to be coming on. It's going to be a great time. We're going to have a lot of fun. And you're going to watch Spike probably be in a suit while Cajun and I are dressed somewhat similar to how I'm dressed right now. Ashley Greer Smoot, do I get to be on the podcast Saturday? That depends, Ashley. Probably, though. I have no idea. I have gotten no notes for this because Cajun's in charge. So we all know what that means. Nobody has any idea what's going on. Thank you so much for tuning in. For your fun fact of this week, Mountain Dew was originally made as a cutter for moonshine and whiskey. Just so you know. Have a fantastic weekend. There's no Eskimo or Cajun and Eskimo show this weekend because of the Tunica event. So tune in next Tuesday where Spike Cohen and I will parse through the week's events like the 2020 Wonder Boys that we are. And then next Wednesday, because I never have this pulled up because Spike has a guest and you aren't going to believe who it is. You are going to be just absolutely impressed by both Spike's and my guests next week. They are so big, I'm not even going to tell you who they are. Have a great weekend. We will see you Saturday, and then we will be right back here, 8-ish on Tuesday for the Muddied Waters of Freedom. Until then, have a fantastic night. I forgot how I was going to close the show, but I'm Matt Wright, and you are all perfect just the way you are.
I am swinging from a 7-story window, throwing parties in a 10-by-7 cell. It's astounding the lengths I'll go to convince the whole damn world I don't need anybody's help. Yeah, I am waving while I drown. Don't bother swimming out to save me, I will only drag you down. I'll try to use your body as a life raft, cause if there's room enough for one, there must be room enough for two. I'll sail the good ship you into the sunset, sipping on savory water till my liver turns blue. Sha-na-na, sha-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Is broadcast in the evening news. I will be relieved. La, I am waving while I drown. Don't bother swimming out to save me, I will only drag you down. I'm waving while I drown. Don't bother swimming out to save me, I will only Hey, alright, yeah, I wrote that one myself. It's astounding the lengths I'll go to convince the whole damn world I don't need anybody's help.